What's going on, everybody? Good late morning, and it's time to get back to the grind on these Washington Huskies, these 4-3 Washington Huskies, coming off a bye week that they probably needed, but I'm not so sure is going to help them. It was nice to get a week off from the Washington Huskies, admittedly, as a fan, but the thoughts that I was having about this team coming off that really, really bad loss to Iowa, where you just got drilled. I mean, it wasn't positive, right? And maybe it was positive for the players, maybe it's positive for the team, but I have my doubts. And my disposition has not really changed very much from the end of that Iowa game. So you probably already know what direction this video is going to go. Now, before I get into all that, though, I will be live streaming a reaction to this game. I'm going to be watching the game, and I will be streaming myself as I watch the game. Look for the stream to either already be posted up or be posted a little bit later today. Gonna go live at about 9 Pacific when the game starts. Gonna stay live until the game ends, probably about 3.5 hours later. I'm really, really not hyped about having to get up that early to watch a game where I kind of expect to get smacked. Although we'll get to that in a second here. We do have some stuff to talk about. Yeah, I'm not thrilled about that. I don't like these 9 a.m. starts. I'm not happy about it. I like to sleep in on my Saturdays. I like to get up and watch the Huskies in the evening, maybe late afternoon. So, not the happiest about that. Not expecting a lot of people to show up to the game stream for that reason. I think that a lot of people are going to sit this one out and decide they got better things to do than watch the Huskies. But I will be there for anybody who wants it, anybody who wants to have conversations about this team, discussions about other things, discussions about whatever. I'll be doing play-by-play. I'll be talking about the game, talking about what I see, talking about what I think. You guys know the drill by now. Come on by, hang out. We'll have fun. Have as much fun as we can. I don't know how much fun the game is going to be. And I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't follow the Indiana Hoosiers very closely. I'm not somebody who is this really, really adamant follower of all college football teams. But my initial impression this week was, how are we only favored, or how is Indiana only favored by a touchdown? And then I see the line moving towards the Huskies half a point during the week. I was pretty confused. So, as it turns out, Indiana is not bringing their full arsenal to the table here. They are missing their quarterback. They are going with their backup while the starter heals. So I gotta admit, that makes things more interesting, right? That makes me feel like I'm not just going to be getting up early on Saturday to watch my team get whipped like I did 2 weeks ago. That makes me think, well, I don't know what's going to happen now. The thing is, near as I can tell from looking at Indiana, looking at the way they win, looking at the way they play, that's a pretty complete team right there. That is a team that is winning not because their quarterback throws for 8,000 yards every week, not because their quarterback throws for 20 touchdowns every week. That's a complete team. I think I saw a stat this week that said they have not trailed at any point during the season. Yeah, that's not a team that is just leaning on their quarterback to bail them out all the time. If that was the case, they'd be trailing plenty. They'd probably get dug out of some 20-0 holes at some point by the quarterback, but they're playing great complementary football over there. So while having Taven Jackson out there at quarterback instead of Rourke makes this game more interesting, and I understand now why the line isn't bigger, I'm not convinced it's going to make a big enough difference because this Huskies team, I mean, they can move the ball on offense pretty well. I will say that. I still think the offense is capable of doing positive things. I think they can move the ball. I think they can get possessions going. I think they can make good things happen. But this defense on the road against a good team, yeah, no. No, I don't see it. I don't hate this defense. I mean, statistically, the defense is still really good, but that's because we built a house on top of a foundation of playing some really weak and really out of their league offenses. Last week, we play Iowa, a team that doesn't even have a great offense or anything like that. I mean, they're Iowa. and they put up 40. They did whatever they wanted to you. And I know some of that was because the offense wasn't producing very much, but I don't know, the defense to me is just waiting to play a credible offense that can expose them. Like, I'm not believing they're actually one of the best defenses in the country just because the numbers say they do. And I don't think anybody else does either. I think that, we're going to play Oregon later this year. Oregon's going to find ways to get to them. So, even though I acknowledge the fact that Indiana not having the quarterback is kind of a big deal, even though I do think that there is a scenario where that ends up playing into this game's result, I don't think it's going to be enough. Because even the offense, which I just expressed a decent amount of belief in, I think they can move the ball, but they also don't have margin for error to make any kind of mistake as they're going down the field. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Last year, the offense could mess around for the whole game. They could mess around and go backwards for a couple plays. It didn't matter. They had a big-time quarterback. They had a big-time receiver core. They had a big-time offensive line. They were special. This team doesn't have that. One penalty is really hard for them to overcome. One negative play is really hard for them to overcome. A drop or a play where somebody just misses their block or misses their route, really hard for them to overcome. So you end up with a lot of drives where the team moves the ball but then doesn't finish, and they're leaning on their really, really bad and really, really shaky field goal kicker. And that's how you get to where you get to, where you're just not finishing the game. So even on that side, I don't feel great. And I know that they have their backup quarterback in there, but I kind of see this game playing out similarly to Iowa. Maybe it doesn't get completely out of hand the way that Iowa game did. Maybe we don't lose, and we basically lost that game 40-10. Maybe we don't lose it 40-10, but I think Indiana comes out of this game feeling like, yeah, we beat them decisively. So I know that as this game goes on, and as this last couple weeks has gone on, a lot of people are calling for Devin Williams. I'm of two minds. On the one hand, I don't think he's ready. I think Devin Williams is pretty clearly not ready to run the full offense. And we just put him out there for a certain package of plays. On the other hand, Rodgers, and I'm not hating on Rodgers. He played poorly last week. Overall, I don't think he's had a bad season. It hasn't been a great season, but he's played pretty well overall. He's not going to be here next year. You're not really building towards anything, right? It's not like Will Rogers is going to come back next year and the experience that he got this year playing with these guys is going to allow him to just be dominant. No, he's been in college for a while as is. He's got no future here. And if he does, that's probably just an indictment on his NFL future. He just feels like he has no future and he wants to dangle around in college forever. So that's not really something I would want to be a part of anyway. He's just not that guy. So for me, I'm kind of torn on that one. I wouldn't hate the idea of turning it over to Devin Williams, but if he's not ready, he's not ready. And my sense is that he's not ready. And here's the thing. And I hate to sound like somebody who's already looking past this game, but I kind of am. I'm already looking past this game. And I don't mean that in the traditional sense. I'm looking past it because I'm already kind of thinking we're going to lose. And I'm thinking about that USC game where USC has looked super mortal the last several games they played. So you've got the USC game, you've got the UCLA game. UCLA, I know they randomly showed up and beat down on Rutgers. You should be able to beat UCLA and USC. That's enough to get the bowl game. To me, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm not even thinking about Indiana because I just don't think we're equipped to go on the road and win this game. I think maybe we're equipped to keep it interesting, but we haven't been able to beat a team that has like a legitimate offense yet this year. We beat Michigan, but we've learned over the last couple weeks that Michigan this year is not good. They do not have an offense. They cannot throw the ball at all. So I don't think that we can handle this. I don't think we can handle this challenge. I mean, it's a road game in the Midwest. It's got a lot in common with the Iowa game. But Indiana's better than Iowa. Maybe they're better in a different way, but they are a better team. So I'm honestly already thinking about the USC game and the UCLA game because I think those are the only two games we can win the rest of the way. To me, this game is just something to kind of play. And you put up some stats. Maybe Coleman has a good game. Maybe Denzel Boston has a good game. And you put that in your back pocket and you're like, okay, we got something out of that. But yeah, I got no call for optimism here. I'd like to sit here and tell you guys this is something I think they can do. This is something that I want to see. But I'm not seeing anything that's going to actually result in a win. Right? I think you guys know what I'm talking about. But I will be live for the game. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for it. It's going to be, well, we'll find a way to have fun one way or the other, even if it's just being annoyed. But we're going to find a way. I will talk to you guys later. Bow down to Washington. Let's find a way, you know? I'm not going to turn it down if they give it to me. If we get a win, I'm not turning it down just because I didn't see it happening. But that Indiana team's on a mission right now, and I don't think they're going to sleep on Washington because they're playing this game with their backup QB. Maybe if they had their starting quarterback, they'd just sleep on us, but I don't think you can sleep on anybody when you don't have your quarterback. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. Bow down to Washington.